All right, here we go. So I'm just going to start. Again, first thing over here on the left, Smart CRM. Okay, so you'll probably see all contacts or my contacts if you haven't been in here yet. I'm under my contacts right now, and I have these filters along the top. So I'm just going to start by kind of pointing out these filters. If you haven't created any filters, you will only see all contacts most likely. So I'm going to show you how you can create these filters. And this is a quick way for you to be able to get to a group of contacts that you want to work. It becomes really important when you're converting leads that you're generating online. The ability to have these filters up here is going to come in really handy, and it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. So these are filter tabs along the top. And then just to kind of give you a lay of the land, you'll notice here at the top right, if you don't have contacts in here, you can add individual contacts one by one right here at the top right. Let me get my little spotlight back. Right here at the top right, you'll be able to see add contact. And so you do have the ability to add contacts individually. You also can add contacts bulk. So you're going to be able to bulk import, and that is actually done through the lead engine tab. So over here under lead engine, you'll see all lead engine tools. And when you click on that, you'll have the ability to do a bulk import. And it'll walk you through. The nice thing about your contacts is when you hit start, you can submit a file directly to kvCORE, and it says right there, let us handle it. They'll go ahead and put the contacts in for you. They'll walk you through a series of questions about how to categorize your data, or you can go ahead and do it yourself, and you'll see the get started. Just so you know, when you come up here, format your list, they'll give you the template. And the nice thing about looking at the template, I don't actually use the template. I just change Excel spreadsheets that I have. And what I do is I just change the column headings to reflect the way the column headings need to be worded. So this spreadsheet is going to show you all the different fields that you are able to upload in a bulk import at one time. So you'll have your first contact, second contact, birthdays, last closing date, deal type, preferences for what they've been looking at, hashtags, which is just the same as a tag or a label. They just call it hashtags instead of labels. Your agent notes, if you're bringing in from a different CRM, spouse information, spouse birthday, showing notes, lenders, what they're looking for in a property. So you'll see it's pretty robust with lots of fields that you're able to bring in during your import. So this spreadsheet is really invaluable. And if you don't have access, if you haven't actually been granted access yet to kvCORE, but you would like that spreadsheet, shoot me an email and I'll be happy to get it over to you. It's just hollyfogle@remax.net. Okay. All right, so back to our Smart CRM. So here, the Smart CRM, once you're viewing the data, when you first come in, you will be looking at every contact in your entire list. So you'll see I have 173 pages of contacts. You can change how many rows you view at any one time. So you can change this from 10 to 25, 50, 100 or 250. So that's going to tell you how many rows you're displaying. And then the other thing that's really nice is you're able to change the columns of the data that you're actually viewing. So this first name, last name, phone number, status, activity, location, all of these you can also change by simply clicking on columns. And here you can just toggle on and off what it is you would like to view on your list. And that becomes handy because what I found is people will abandon CRMs if it doesn't kind of work into the way their mind works. So if you're constantly looking at things that aren't relevant to you or don't make sense, or it's not what you're used to, I find that it just takes a little bit longer to adopt. the platform. So I do like that we have the ability to make some customizations, which is great. The next thing besides what you're viewing is what can you do? So you can click the top box at the top, and that's going to add a check into everyone on the page that you're on. And you'll see I could send everybody at once a mass email. Try to keep those numbers below, say 50. So if you want to send everyone in your CRM an email, you're going to want to use the feature of schedule a mass email. And that's going to be located under the marketing tab. I can send everybody a text. You'll be able to text people through the platform, which is great. Video messages, you cannot do a mass video unless you choose to upgrade to the BombBomb that's offered through kvCORE. So even if you have your own BombBomb account, you're not going to be able to interface with kvCORE unless you go through their BombBomb system. So it is an additional charge, but you do get 10 videos per month to 10 individuals at no charge. And that's called Core Video. So that will be included in your subscription. So you will get the ability to complete 10 videos per month to 10 different individuals. Okay, so when I talked about these little tabs up here, I'm going to show you how you can do those. So once you come in here, you can click on this blue box that says filters applied. And this is probably not my favorite, but it's one of my favorite features. So when I click on that, it's going to open up a bunch of different opportunities for me to filter my list. And you'll see I have 1,730 contacts in here. So that's quite a bunch of people. Well, if I only want to pick out people that I've put into my sphere, I can click on sphere. I can click on sphere, and then I can simply scroll down and hit apply the filter so that only people that are in my sphere will come up. And I don't have anybody located in this account under my sphere. But if I changed that and said, okay, I want to just look at any new leads that I have, okay, you always, the one little caveat on here is you always want to go back to your contacts before you start to apply a new filter. Because as you notice, when I clicked sphere, nobody came up. If I just changed the contact status without going back to my full list, it would still come up and say, there is nobody. So a little trick is, as you continue to make different filters, make sure you always come back to your my or all contacts label. So now I'll say, okay, I just want to create one for new leads. So I'm going to do that and then hit apply filter. Now it's going to pick up just my new leads. Well, I want to always be able to come and find my new leads quickly. So this is when you have the ability to save the filter and then add it to the top. And that's just done by hitting save filter. And then you give it a name, new leads, and I'll just do this one all together so you can see. And then pin this filter to the top. You can also create filters and not pin them to the top. So I'm going to show you what happens when I don't pin this to the top, but I still want the filter. I'm going to hit save new filter. So I've actually saved it. Now up at the top, remember I have this one that's separate, new, and then the word leads. I can come right here. It says select a save filter. And if I click on the gear, it's going to show me all the save filters that I've done, but I don't necessarily have them all pinned to the top because maybe I don't want them all on the top, but I still want to be able to come and just search for that particular filter. So you'll notice here, I could just do new leads all together. And then there it is right here, new leads. So I'm pulling up the same filter, but just to show you how that works. So I do a workshop on how to convert online leads. And I will tell you some things that you definitely going to want to do is create filters for new leads, active leads, and clients. I'm going to recommend as you import, or if your leads get transferred from Booge or Lead Street, that you go ahead and, unless you actively have new leads and active leads that you're working with, anyone that you're bringing over in your previous CRM, I would encourage you just to keep them all in Sphere. keep them in the sphere category. And I'll get into that in future workshops as to why, but it'll make a lot of sense the longer you're in the platform. So today I wanted to really talk about what happens when we actually open up one of the contact records and what are all the things and the nuances of all the fields. So today we are going to work right in this contact field. So I'm going to open up Mike Vogel. And anytime you open up a record, it will automatically open up into this view. And the view is like a little Rolodex card. And if you look to the top, you'll see the name of your record, the information you have. I have a phone number and an email. If I come over to the right, I can get to my next client in my list, or I can go to the previous record right up here at the top right. And you'll notice that timeline is underlined. So every time you click on a record, it's going to open up into the timeline. So we are on the timeline. There's also the ability to come to profile details, which is real important, alerts, files, transactions, and tasks. So we are going to start in our timeline. The timeline is broken into 4 main categories. So the first category is our summary section. So over on the left, it's going to have its own little slide bar. It's going to show me the name. If I need to edit this person's name, I would do it right here. And then I would hit save. It's going to show me the phone number. If I need to edit the phone number, I just click on the pencil here. Same thing with the email and the address. You don't do here. So the only ones that you would edit on this timeline is anywhere where you see a little pencil. So I can edit the name, phone, and email from here. I already have the address in, and I'll show you where that was input. You're able to give classifications to each record. They can be multiple. So I could actually click on all of these if they were everything. This person, for this example, is a buyer and a seller. It's a great idea to import agent rosters and agent databases for listing notifications, or if you communicate a lot with agents. So you are going to be able to hashtag and label agents, vendors, renters, buyers, and sellers. So just to put that into perspective. Then we have our hashtags. Hashtags gets a little bit confusing because I think our mind always goes to, I believe hashtags started in Twitter or Instagram. So I have people all the time, they're like, oh, I have a bunch of hashtags that I own or things like that. This is really just a labeling feature. And you're also able to use these when you're doing lead generation. So I can create a landing page that is designed to get buyer leads for anybody that's interested in a property with a pool in between a certain price range. So if I wanted to make sure that I knew who landed on that landing page, I can add a hashtag to that landing page that says hashtag pool properties 250 to 450. And then any lead that comes into my CRM will automatically have that hashtag attached to their record. So there's a lot of functionality with the hashtags. You can create lists of buyers that might be looking at certain properties. You might have a lot of farm areas. So I live in the Villages, Florida. If I wanted to work a farm area in my particular village of Fenny, I could tag an entire list of 500 people, hashtag Fenny. So it's really a sorting, and it's just a way for you to sort and know who you have. They can have multiple hashtags, just like in Bouge and Lead Street. Lead Street, we put them into groups. Bouge, we gave them tags. They can have multiple, doesn't matter. So you'll notice here, I'd have a hashtag of video update done, a buyer 2022, and this person's in my 33 touch program, which is designed to make sure that they get 33 touches a year. But there's all kind of hashtags. I could put, like I said, if I wanted to, you can create these hashtags on the fly, or as you start typing, if you've already added a particular hashtag, it will start to auto-populate. It'll come up from a pick list. So say I did want to add this person to Fenny, all I would do is type it and then hit enter. And now you'll see that the hashtag has been added. Below the hashtag section, it's going to give me some insights. The stars are assigned by the system based off of the level of interaction and how much information we have on the person and how engaged they are. So the system is going to assign the star level, but say I was communicating with this person outside of kvCORE. So maybe we were talking on the phone, but not through the system. Maybe I had a meeting with this person. So the kvCORE is not going to know that I met with this person. I can go ahead and give this person more signs myself, more stars myself, if I choose to. Otherwise, the system is going to do it based on what the system has seen you've done with this record. And it's going to give me a summary. It's going to tell me where this person came from. Okay, so I manually added this person. It's going to tell me the date, and no activity was determined for level of interest because Mike did not actually click on properties. He wasn't searching on my website or on remax.com or anything. I just manually put him in. The cool thing on the next area is validation. So the validation is going to run from kvCORE. It doesn't necessarily run immediately. So there, it could go immediately, but we're not sure. So validation means it's going to take the cell phone number, the phone, the email address, and any other information in here, and it's going to go out to the internet and see what else it can find. So it's going to go out and look for social media connections, male or female, anything that they can find associated with that phone number and email, they're going to go out and try to find. So it's pretty interesting, and it's kind of fun because you'd be shocked at what the system can come back. And sometimes it's a day later. So validation isn't always instantaneous, but you do have the ability to actually click on the run button and have it run if you wanted to. So whenever anything says see more or see less, I always tell people go ahead and click on that just to make sure that you don't miss anything. And then at the bottom here is if I wanted to make the contact visible, transfer it, or share it. So there is a little bit of information at the bottom. So the very far left, summary section. Then in the middle section, at the top, we have what's called the client journey. The client journey is really, really important. And the reason it's really important is because where the person is in the client journey, it could, depending on what you have going on in your campaigns, the client journey is a very, very common trigger for a campaign to be turned on. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. The client journey is very likely going to be a trigger for a campaign to be automatically turned on. So when people come in here and they're like, oh, I put him as active lead. And then maybe like 2 hours later, you're like, oh, you know what? No, I didn't mean to do active lead. I meant to do contract. It's going to say, are you sure? This is what you want to make sure you read. It's going to say this action could affect or remove the currently assigned smart campaign. And that's because campaigns are often, they begin often by where the lead is placed. Okay. So what I encourage most of your imports, when a bulk import occurs or when things have been transferred over, typically they are all coming into the prospect section. They're usually just given the label prospect when you do a bulk import or when they're coming over when you first set up your account. Okay, so prospect can be triggering a campaign, but when you do bulk imports, it gives you the option. Do you want to let anything start or do you not want to? So I would recommend that nothing go out automatically until you actually understand the system. Okay, so any lead that comes in from remax.com, from if you run property boosts, if you do landing pages, squeeze pages, somebody lands on your website, any of those brand new leads will always be put in the new lead section as soon as they come into the system. Okay, so as soon as they come in, they're going to be a new lead. If you have a campaign that is designed to be triggered when a new lead comes in, that campaign is going to be automatically added to this account right over here. And it's going to try to look and see when the new lead comes in, were they looking at a property? Did they fill out what's my home worth? And they're looking for three things. Do we think this is a buyer? Do we think this is a seller? Or do we think this is a renter? Obviously, they're going to decide it's a renter based off of the price of the listing that they were looking at. And then typically, if they're just hopping on different listings, different properties, they're going to assume that it's a buyer lead. And then, of course, if you're running ads, you'll know if you're running an ad for a seller lead or for a buyer lead or for a renter lead. So as soon as they come in, they are going to be placed in the new lead section. If you have a campaign that's set up, the campaign automatically gets added to the system. Okay. And there's going to be a series of actions that are going to occur. Most likely, depending, and you can edit all the campaigns. I'll do a whole workshop on campaigns. Not really going to dive too much into it today, but there are things you need to understand about campaigns. Typically, a text message goes out immediately. Thanks for visiting the website. Are you looking for a specific property or just browsing right now? That's an immediate text message. So what's really important is that you understand that a text message is probably going out if you have not turned off the campaigns. So that text goes out immediately, and typically there's a 4-hour window in which then it will be followed up with an email. Okay, so what I love about the campaigns, and you can change the timing on these, every campaign can be edited and every campaign can be turned off, and campaigns don't even have to have triggers. So there's a lot of functionality and flexibility in utilizing the campaigns. And now that I've been working with, people that are doing enterprise property boost, they're getting lots of leads in, and you really need to understand these triggers. But the cool thing that it does, and this is what I love. So I'm telling everybody, all the people that you already know in your world, put them in Sphere. Just leave them in there, and then you can decide, because you may not even want them to be on a campaign, right? So if you just randomly say, oh, they're active, no, they're new, you could be turning on and off things and not even realizing it. But one of the coolest things that I like about this system is when it comes in as a new lead, okay, it's going to hang out in this new lead section. I'm going to be texting them from the system. I'm going to be emailing them from kvCORE. I can even make a phone call from kvCORE. Okay, so I can do all these things from the desktop version and from the mobile version. So please make sure you download the mobile app and the open house app. There are 2 apps that come with kvCORE. If I send a new lead, so they get the first text, they don't respond. Okay, so they're like, okay, they just sent me that. I'm still looking. I'm out showing property, so I didn't reach out to them yet. 4 hours later, an email goes out. Okay, maybe I'm still out showing property. So now they get an email. The next day, the campaign tells me to follow up with them. Okay, so maybe before I can even follow up with them, this lead responds to the email. Okay, the minute they respond to the email, the system says, oh, they've actually engaged with you. So since they've engaged with you, we're going to automatically move them to the active lead section. And any campaign that was associated with a new lead, which that campaign is just designed to get people to respond to you. So it's going to say, they responded. That means we're going to move them to active, and the campaign that was associated with new lead will turn off. So now they will not get anything in addition. And I love this because when I talked about the filters, we have a new lead filter, an active lead filter, and a client filter, right? Because when a new lead comes in my mind, I know that whether it's a campaign or me, I'm putting them on a property alert. I'm sending them a text message. I'm leaving them a message. I'm sending them a video. I'm trying to get them to say, yes, I need help, or no, I don't. If they're still in the new lead category, that means they have not responded to me. They have not engaged. The minute, and I don't care if they say yes or no, the minute they respond to me in any format, as long as it's through the kvCORE mobile app or through the desktop through here, the system is going to move them right to active. So I can pull up all my new leads. I might have 15 new leads. In my head, I automatically know new lead, they haven't responded. I have not gotten a connection with this person. I got to keep trying. I got to keep trying. All my active leads means they've responded to me. They're engaging. They replied. And they either reply, yes, I need help. No, I don't. Not now. Whatever. I don't care what the response is. I know that everybody that's in my active category, they've responded to me. Okay. And then ultimately, what I'm trying to do is get them to be a client. And I'm using the client. This is how I'm using it. You can use it however you see fit. We are using that client journey to mean that they've hired us and we are actively working. So I have a listing agreement in place or a BBA and I'm showing them property. We're not too concerned about the contract and closed in my office and for us only because our transaction management does not link with kvCORE. So we have no transaction functionality in here. However, there are campaigns that are attached to when someone's under contract and when someone's closed. So you can feel free to use all that. You'll be able to explore it the way you want to. But the way I'm having the most success with people and for them to really understand who they have and what's going on is new lead. I'm talking. They're not talking. Active. We're engaged. Well, they're doing stuff. We're talking. And then client, they've hired me. I now have a client. So now when I go to one of my clients and I say, hey, open up your kvCORE, and I say, click on the client tab at the top, the filter, and 6 people come up, I know that those 6 people, it's a combination of active listings and active buyers or renters. And so we're always trying to get new leads to become active leads to get face-to-face and get hired. Otherwise, if they just hang out in these areas, I'm not earning any income and it doesn't matter. So that's the client journey. I will show you the campaign and how it triggers in a moment. The bottom section underneath the client journey is what I call the news feed. Everything that I do in this record, every communication that I have with Mike Fogel via text, via phone, via email, as long as I'm conducting that in the app or on the desktop, it's in my news feed. So it's just a running total of what's occurred. So I'm going to show you in real time what's happened with Mike since I put him in here. So I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. And we're going to work from the bottom up. Okay, so on September 14th at 5:28, I put Mike in, and of course it was assigned to me because I manually added him. The same time, I sent him a text because I was trying to test the text system, okay? Then I came in and I updated the system. I didn't put his email in right away. So a couple minutes later, the system assigned an email, or right when I put him in, actually, I didn't add an email. So what the system does is it takes their phone number and creates an email, a placeholder in the email, his phone number at kvleads.com. Well, at 5:45, I was like, oh, well, I know Mike's email. So I went ahead and changed it to his email address. Okay. So that was right at 5:45. At the same time, kvCORE gave it a predictive score. And it says here, right here, it'll tell you, this means the contact may be interested, but the data is limited to determine. We will continue to update over time. So it's telling me. Then it tried to run a validation, but there was nothing to run because I added it manually when it's, which is fine. So it ran the validation. No details were found. Okay. That's because this phone number and this email, he's not attached. He's nowhere on the internet. Try to find him. He's incognito. So nothing came out. So then I sent another text message. I have no response. The next day, another validation run, no additional details. On the 19th, I went in through his record and I decided to go and create a buyer tour. So I went into Core Present and I created a buyer tour, which is really cool. And I could hit to view, but I'm not going to. Then I changed the deal type, right? From buyer to buyer and seller. So everything that I've done in this record, it's just going to show me. On the 19th, then I went ahead and I did that. Then I changed the deal type again. Then I subscribed him to text messages and emails, right? And I'll show you how to do that. Then I sent a video market update, okay? So I sent him a video with a market update on his property. And this little envelope tells me that he has not opened it. So he has not opened the email. Doesn't mean he didn't see it. It just means he didn't open it. After I did my video update, which is what we're doing right now, everybody's doing video updates, I added the hashtag video update done. That way I can create a filter and I can pull up all the people that I've already completed my video update to. All right, then on September 21st, cell phone updated from blank to here, blank phone number, then address. I added this address to the record. So see, it's telling me everything that you do. It's telling you what's happened. Now the predictive score, another predictive score. Okay. Then today I went ahead and added seller valuation. This actually sent him a report on what his home is worth. Then I sent another text message, testing kvCORE system. Then I added some hashtags, buyer, 33 touch. Then I sent the email, latest estimate value for your house. So this was the seller valuation, and I can view it right here. It's going to show me what it looks like. Home value estimate, 780. Then it's going to give it a market report. So it's going to give him a market report for what's happening in the area. I love these market reports. They're great. It's just going to give you all this information. Anything they click on will take them right to my website. I'm going to come up a little further. And oh, look at this. So this happened. So I sent this email. And then it says status changed from new lead to active lead because the text message that I sent, he replied to. So once he replied to the text message that I sent earlier, the system automatically moved him from new lead to active lead. And then any campaign that I would have had on here got turned off. So as you can see, that it had added an active buyer because now he went from new to active. So over here, the active buyer campaign went on. So then I come up here. Now he's an active seller because I sent him a home valuation. And once you send someone a home valuation, they put them on an active seller campaign. Again, I can have all these in the off position, and I actually recommend that, but I wanted you all to see how this functionality works because it's really important. Look here, 1238, got it. He responded to my text. Now I could hit respond right now and text him again. When he said got it, I received a message from my smart number that said, I'll read you what it says. It's going to come from the smart number because that's how I communicated with him, right? I sent it through the system, which will send it through the smart number. And I'll do a whole training on smart numbers because everybody's confused and it's not confusing. Well, it is in the beginning. Sorry. Okay. It says, a lead has sent you a new message. Lead name, Mike Fogel. lead contact number, 720, lead message. Got it. So when he responded to my text that went through the system, the message comes here and it also displays on my phone. Got it. Now it's going to assign me a weekly check-in with this contact. The campaign is going to come to me. And then as you saw when I added Fenny right here, here's Fenny. So this news feed is extremely important. I answer so many questions by having people just go to the news feed. It's going to tell you everything you need to know about how and why and where this person is, what they've done. This is important. Okay, so don't forget the news feed. So right now we have summary, client journey, news feed, and over on the right are all the actions that I can perform with this client. So starting over here at the top, this is my actions, my whole action side. And it's going to say here what they're subscribed to. So they're subscribed to text and email. If for some reason it's only saying text, like when I added his email, it didn't say that he was subscribed to that. So right here under more actions, let me get rid of this message from this guy. Right here, you'll see more actions. And you're able to subscribe to emails, but I already did that. So now it says unsubscribe. I could merge this contact. I could transfer it to someone else. I could update and send a new valuation as long as I have the property address in there. I could add a task. I could share this contact. I could unsubscribe from text, turn off all behavioral alerts. I could archive it. Now, if you go to delete a contact, you can only delete your contacts. Okay, so you can't delete company contacts, and a company contact is a lead that would come from like Remax.com. I could rerun, whatever, export. I could delete contact data. And then the cool things are for communication. I can find on Facebook, find on Google, LinkedIn. Some people have people accounts, so you could log right into your people account and find information. If I didn't have a phone number, I could click on find on Spokio. It's going to go out and take his email and look all these different places and see what information they can find. So it's going to go through and look. And then at the end, it's going to tell me how many records it found. And then if I want, I can go ahead and purchase that information. So it'll tell me, if I hit unlock results, it's going to tell me for 95 cents what I can get. So you may or may not want to do that. Some people already have a system in which they can find additional information. Sorry. And if that's the case, you won't need to know that, but it is nice to know that that's even there. And that's all located under the top portion, which is more actions right here. I can hop right in and send a text message from here, send an email, make a new phone call. I can create a note. I can do a video. Voicemail drop is a cost. But then I can hop right into Core Present, which is very similar to Cloud CMA, if you guys are familiar with that. Because this links directly to the MLS, you're able to go in and create CMAs. Pretty nice information in there. And so we do our market video updates. We actually go into Core Present and do a screen record right from there. So lots of great functionality in there. And underneath there are all our behavioral automations. So if Mike was looking for a certain property, here's where I'm going to go ahead. And as soon as I click on add, it's actually going to take me to this tab here, alerts. But if he was a buyer and I wanted to put him on a search alert, and I'm not going to do it from the MLS, I'm going to do it from my website. And that's what this does. So I would come in here and I'd say, okay, I'm going to do a search alert. And actually that doesn't look right. That's really strange. It usually comes up with the property. Oh, they've added it. Okay, so every time I come in here, there's something new. So this is actually letting you name the alert title. This was not here. Usually it just comes up right to here. So these are two new. They've changed it. Okay. So we can give it a title. I love it. Okay, great. So I'm going to call this Duluth Palms. I love when there's new stuff, and I can give it dynamic search line. I can give it my own search line. Okay. New properties. Okay, I'll have it go once a week. Here are your frequencies for your searches. So never, ASAP. You can copy yourself if you want. And then here, and they are, doing like 2 new features just came in this week. So I guess they're going to continue to do that, which is great. So when you're typing in your areas, always just type in what you want and then wait. You'll see it spinning, but you always want to pick from a pick list. Don't just type and think that it found it. So I'm going to do the city of Duluth. You can also draw on a map if you prefer. And I'll do single family. And I'll just do okay, I don't care about bedrooms or baths. It gives you a couple of amenities down here, general options, financial, structural, rental, and then you do have the ability to add keywords. So the keywords are going to be pulling from your MLS. So if I wanted to put in something about a pool, this is exactly what is in your MLS. So you do have the ability to do more dynamic searches. A lot of people think that what's on this screen is the only search criteria, but you can actually put in more. So I would do private pool, and then it's going to say yes or no, and I would do yes. And then I would just hit set alert. So now it's going to go and look, and I didn't get any because the prices have gone up, and so none came up. But otherwise it would show the results, and then I could just go ahead and email it, and then it's going to pick up and go every week. So it's going to go every week. So the alerts are great. And once you set it up, now it's going to display right here. And now it's going to actually show it, and I can turn it on and off. Oh, nice. It was coming up like this, these little pencils, but it looks like they've actually changed it and add a little toggle on and off, which I really like. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to turn that off so Mike doesn't get mad. And then here are the campaigns that I'm on, that he's currently on. All I have to do is hit the pencil, and I could say, you know what? I want to pause this. And this one I want to remove. And the seller one, I'm going to go ahead and leave it on. I could also put him on a market report. The market reports you just do right in here. Same thing. He lives in Duluth, so I'm going to look for Duluth. Going to wait until it populates. I'm not going to use area. I'm actually going to look for city. Not Minnesota. That's really strange. Should only be pulling up Georgia. I don't know why it's pulling up. Interesting. Well, let me do this one. Hold on. There we go. It should only pick up in your, I wonder if something's changed because it should only pick up your MLS. So this is kind of interesting today, but I'll just pick one. So you're going to pick, and then right here, it'll let you know how many days it'll go out. So I would do every 28 days and just hit add. Now he's going to get a market report. And again, it's just been added right here in the middle of my news feed. I already have a listing valuation, so that went out. All you have to do is put in their address here under listing valuation. And then there is a seller report that goes out, and the seller report goes out if you have a listing, you can just add the MLS ID, and that goes out once a week. And I'll do a whole thing on the seller report. So as a recap under timeline, summary, client journey, news feed, and all the actions that you can do on the client record. The next one is really important, is the profile details. And here, once you come in, you'll hit edit details, and you're going to look over on the left. There's really just 4 columns. So on the left, your goal is to get as much of this filled out as possible. So I have all the contact information. I have the address label. I mean, the primary address is right here, status homeowner. Then we're going to go to column 2. Column 2, the referral source, that's going to go ahead and just be auto-generated. Then it's going to say call texting. You have permission, put yes. The last close date is their home anniversary. And then this will automatically filter over as long as you have these turned on. I did a whole pop-up webinar on the settings last week. So this is all taken care of in your settings under marketing. I can look for all the social media handles and add them in here. The home preferences, this is kind of important, especially for your buyers. Make sure you put in, location, average price. If you put in these fields, if you load these fields in ahead of time, and like maybe average price, if you add these ahead of time, then the system is really good because you're going to be able to go to any listing and hit find matching buyers. And it's going to go into your kvCORE account and see if it can find anybody that was looking for a particular house. And I'll actually just kind of demonstrate that in a minute. Here's the valuation. I had already filled this out from the timeline. I ran a valuation on the property, so that's already in here. That gets populated when you add it from the timeline. And over here, this is all the information you want to know about your client. Do they have a website where they work? What's their occupation? Where do they work? You have the ability for a second email, their birthday, and then here you have the spouse's information. So spouse information, spouse birthday. If you fill in the home anniversary right here, close date and birthdays, then they will get an email and a text on their birthday and on their home anniversary. So once you have these dates filled in, then those texts and emails go automatically. Okay, so it's really important that you try to fill in as much information in here as you possibly can. And then when you're done, you'll hit save changes and that'll keep all that. And then again, the alerts we talked about, you can get to those from the timeline because everything you do here in the alerts will also filter right over here on the right. So all your automations are sitting over here on the right. Market reports, listing valuation, seller reports, search alerts. And you can turn these on and off, like I said, at any time. Files, this is if you were to, if your Google is synced, then if there were any email files, it would show up here. Transactions, this is if you have SkySlope or Dot Loop, you can actually integrate those. We use a transaction platform that is not, it cannot link up into here, so we won't have our actual transactions in here. And then you have your tasks. And so you can add a task. These will also filter in from your campaigns. So if there's campaigns that have tasks for you to do, it'll also just show them in here. Also under the timeline, I did want to check in right in the middle, in this area, it'll show future touch points. That's because I have campaigns on. So if I click on that, it's going to show me all the new things. And basically these are campaigns paused. So all of those things that were going to happen are in the pause position, but these were the future touch points. So that's the contact record. But now I want to show you, because I have 9 minutes here, I want to show you those campaigns and how this trigger happens here. So let me close this record. The other thing I wanted to show was really quick. You can go into all the MLS listings, my listings, company listings. If I go to all the MLS listings, this is just linking into the MLS. So these agents are not necessarily in my office. But if I were to actually look for like a house in Swanee, and you can create filters to look for properties. I wanted to show you. what's pretty cool is after you start really interacting with the system and you start getting leads in here, let's look for, if you open up a property, the timeline is when it's your listing, you're able to add to the timeline, and that's for the showing report, for the seller report. But you can come to any listing and click on matching buyers, and it's going to go into your CRM and it's going to say, geez, do you have anybody in there that's ever clicked on properties or looking at properties that might be similar to this property? And if so, it'll give you a laundry list. So see, it says 4 people may be interested in this property. So again, they would have had to have interacted, with that for you to know, but it's really great because you could just find any property and just start communicating with people and saying, hey, this house, might be something that you like. And then under the smart campaigns, so flipping over to smart campaigns, there's 3 sections, and this is where it's really important. This is where the client journey is really important. So when you come under your thing, you're going to have 3 tabs: My Campaigns, the library, kvCORE library, which is where all the campaigns are housed, and then templates. And templates are just all the emails, text messages, and everything that make up all the campaigns. So under My Campaigns, anything that is blue means it's turned on. So as I come down here, you'll see here, I have a campaign birthday reminder. 5 days before the lead's birthday, I want to make sure that I get notified. That way the system is going to go ahead and already send them an email and a text, but I might want to send something in the mail. So I need a 5-day heads up. And so I know when, as a reminder when their birthday is coming out. And then down here, we have some tasks that are turned on. And then you'll see there's some buyer nurture, active buyers that are turned on. So these campaigns, again, you'll notice right here, this is the trigger area. So when it says new lead buyer campaign, it's a default for new buyer leads. It starts when the lead is new lead. It's designed for buyers and it has 23 touches. So if we look at this, what's going to happen is the minute a lead comes in, immediately from the agent to the contact, this text message is going to go out. Hi, thanks for visiting my website. I saw you were browsing listings. Are you actively shopping? Anything in particular? Right? So they get that right away. I don't know if I'd want it to go out right away, but that's a whole nother class. But anyway, 5 hours later, an email from me to the contact is going to go out. And it's going to say, following up on my text earlier, I'm your local agent. Are you thinking about making a move? The best place to start. So that's going to go out 5 hours later. Now at 5 hours and 2 minutes, if this person hits reply and replies to this, then the rest, what's going to happen is this person's going to move from a new lead to an active lead in my client journey. And none of this is going to happen because they responded. So they respond, the rest of this goes away, and now they're moved to new lead. And if there's a campaign for new lead, then that campaign would start. So hopefully that makes sense, but this is really powerful. And it's great. And then from the system to the agent, it's going to tell me, call this person from yesterday. And then day 2, it's going to say from agent to the contact, they're going to get a second text message. Quick check-in. Are you a first-time home buyer or simply browsing the market? Right? So you can come in if you're like, I don't like any of this, but I like the idea of having one. Then you're going to clone the campaign, and everything here that says view will have the word edit next to it, and you'll be able to edit or view, and that way you can make your changes. So it's pretty cool. So just to kind of recap, we came in, we talked about you can change what you're viewing here by going to the columns, turning on and off. You can apply filters and create the save filters along the top. Highly recommend. Excellent. You can click up to 50 and do a mass email or a mass text. Video is 1 per person. Also under more actions here, you can add a hashtag to a bunch of people at once. You can change everybody's status at once. So make sure that you can add a search alert. So definitely come in and click on everything because you can't really break anything when you're in here. So I do encourage you to play around and get familiar. And then when we come into a record, let me pull up one that maybe would have different information as I just go back and look at it. Hold on here. Let's look at this one. So this person came in, and I'm going to come over here on the left. Direct website. So came in directly on my website 13 days ago. Looks like in Scottsville. Looked at Scottsville. 52 million. I like that. Came in as in a new lead. Now, if I come over here, it looks like they have a search alert on. They have a campaign on, but they're still a new lead. So that means this person has not responded to me, to the campaign. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, sorry. So that's mine. So you can see here, everything that went out has not been opened. So that's why it's still in that position. So it'll tell you everything it's going to find about this person. Let's see if there was any validation run, didn't find anything. So it gives you the whole history. So it's really fun, to kind of see what's happening. If you are already working with someone and you add them in here and they don't need to be on a campaign, then just make sure if you put them in active lead status, that if a campaign gets added and you met them at an open house and you're like, they don't need to be on a campaign, I already know them, but you do want to take advantage of knowing who you have and where they are in this journey, just make sure that you always come over here and check and they're not on a campaign if they don't need to be, or they are on a campaign if they do need to be. So it might seem overwhelming now because you're hearing a lot of information at once, but trust me, when you get in here, I have found 5 to 8 hours, not in one setting, 5 to 8 hours of being in here, playing around, maybe an hour at a time, focused, not multitasking. You're going to get it and you are going to love it and you're going to be really excited, but you have to give yourself about 5 to 8 hours of really learning it. Like when you first had to learn the MLS, when you had never seen the MLS before and now you're really good at it. It's the same thing. So if you will give yourself grace to not know it at first and then give yourself 5 to 8 hours to really make the commitment, you are going to love it. I'm loving this system. Generating leads is super easy. Now I'm helping people understand how to convert and put them into these groups and how to nurture and communicate effectively, because drip campaigns take the heavy lifting off, but it's real easy for people to hit opt out or stop on the text messages. And as soon as they do that, now it's a lot harder for you to make that connection. And I think if you did it individually with video, wow, the sky's the limit. So lots of good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and open up just at the end here for any Q&A. You can type those in, or you can just take yourself off mute and ask me. Otherwise, let me just check because there might be some here. Hold on. Is there a second email on the contact with the system? Oh, great question. Will the system automatically send or CC them a market report or seller report? So great question. The second email, anything that's automated, the only thing they're going to get is the birthday. But if you noticed when I went in to create the property alert, you can CC someone on the property alert. You cannot CC them on the market report or the seller report. So I have been recommending to folks, put everybody in its own record. If you know that you definitely communicate with a lot of people individually. Sometimes we know that I pretty much only talk to the wife. I don't really talk to the husband. So if you want to be safe, just give everybody their own record. If, that's just going to have to be an individual thing. But the only one, you can add a property alert. You can add a CC to a property alert. You can't add it to the market report or the seller report. Great question. Where will we be able to find the recording? The recording, anybody that registered, I'm just going to email out. That way everybody gets it because they registered. And then I did ask, and I can post this in Remax Tech and Tools Facebook group. I will post this in that group. Is bulk upload treated the same as if you enter an individual as far as being assigned to you as the agent? So yes, but when you do the bulk import, there is a column and it's going to say assigned agent. You can do that. Use your remax.net email address. Don't use your name. So if you want to be just to be safe, you can add a column that it says assigned agent and in there put Holly Fogel at Remax. Well, don't put mine in, but use your remax.net email address, not just your first name. Great question. Any other
Holly,
questions? Yes.
Holly,
Hey,
I
Allison.
was wondering when you add manually add a new contact, you ask for their name and email and cell phone, and then down below it says, is it all right to call, text, and so forth. If I don't necessarily, like what you were saying, if it's somebody that I met at an open house or a networking thing, and I don't necessarily want to put them on a campaign right away, I found that the only way that to not to avoid that is to check no first and then go into the profile, because otherwise it automatic as soon as I hit add contact, it puts them in a campaign and they get an email or a text. Is there a different way to do that?
Well, what you can do is the workaround you can do for manual is just go ahead and put them under a lead status of sphere or
That's what I
prospect.
do. Yeah, that's what I do, and it still puts them in. It must be something that I've got set up wrong, because I noticed that it automatically puts them on a like active buyer or something.
No, because it's not determined by type. It should be determined by status.
Yeah.
So the safe one would don't give them a lead type then in the beginning, put them in as prospect, but it should not do that because I've done a ton of imports and I typically put them in sphere or prospect and they don't get anything. So I don't know, we might need to take a look at your campaigns just to double check to make sure.
Yeah,
And
I
then
need
down
to. I
here, yeah, because down here it has smart campaign options. And of course you don't want to choose
and
anything
I don't
there.
I don't put that in. Yeah. So I need to go in. This has been really helpful. I need to go in and clean up and get it all organized. So
Well, and that's a great point because don't forget you can come in and do a filter based off of what campaign they're on. So you can come in and do a filter and scroll down and say, where's the campaigns? Oh, it's under behavior. If you go to behavior, come down and say, okay, who's on the new buyer campaign right here? Contacts with that default buyer campaign, and then have that list come up and make sure that they should or should not be on it. The other thing you can do, like I said, I don't know, I'm kind of having everybody no campaigns until you understand what's going on. And then you can decide if you want the campaigns. And I actually don't like the text message going out immediately because if I'm a lead and I register on a website and my phone is buzzing at the exact same time, one, I know that it's canned, but it's so easy to go stop because our text messages are fully compliant. So it's got your name, Remax, and then it says, if you would prefer not to communicate, hit stop. Well, when they're getting it before they haven't even looked at what they wanted to look at because they were forced to register. And now the text message comes up and it says, hit stop. I don't like that immediate text. So I'm not a fan, but that's a whole different call. But great question. And I can get with you on that. Let's see if I'm not in the Facebook. Can I get a list for future training times with you? Yes, Linda. Just shoot me an email, Holly Fogel at remax.net, Linda, and I'll just send out to you when I'm doing that for sure. No problem. That's great. And if anybody wants previous ones, I'm not going to send those. I wouldn't do that. But if anybody wants, I did one on all the settings. I've done one on the listing playbook. I did 2 overviews, but they were back in May and I've learned so much more, but it's still a good start. If you want any of those previous recordings, just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to do that. Boy, Jordan keeps talking to me. So the chat bubble works. Also, when you first come in here, you're going to get a little checklist over here, a blue checklist that's going to continually pop up until you click through every single thing in it. So make sure you click through everything so that doesn't bug you and come up all the time. Okay, any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When I use another CRM, but I'd like to use eventually all of kvCORE's functions.
Yeah.
What I use my other database for primarily is I put the contacts in, so Mr. and Miss Seller, and then their address. And my big thing is Christmas cards. So every year I'll filter, of course, my Christmas card list and just print the envelopes out. So what you were saying though is with the campaigns, if we want to send a like a market analysis, or not market analysis, but the campaign, put them in separately so that each of them get the report. But then if I'm wanting to do a holiday mailer, is it going to go to their house twice because I had to create 2 individual contacts?
What you can do on that is you can create an address label just in one of the records.
Uh-huh.
This replaces first last name on printed address label. Let me think of the best workaround on that. You may want to just keep well, typically they're not, what I'm finding is it's kind of middle of the road where people are like 90% of the time, one person receiving it is fine, for the market reports, not both need to get it. So in that case, I'm thinking, yeah, that it would double it. But you know what? You have to export it to get the labels anyway. So you export to run the labels at any given time. And when you do an export, it's really easy to merge those fields on your address labels. So I mean, I'd still be able to manipulate the data in that, or you can have somebody as separate in one and then just add the ones that want their own report, add a record for the ones that want their own report. Because you can have duplicates in here. So you could have like Joe and Sue in one field for everything. She would get her birthday or whoever, and whoever you feel like is the more dominant one that would want the actual market report, then you could go ahead and have that record that way. And then if they want something separate, just create a separate record for the one person. And just, you don't even have to fill in their address or anything. You know what I'm saying? You could, so there is a workaround on that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Last one, when I export my database into kvCORE, I just need to make sure that the campaigns are automatically turned off, so not everybody's receiving some random.
On a bulk, yes, on a bulk import, it's a wizard and it'll ask you if you want to add anybody. Otherwise, bulk imports, they do not add. No campaigns get triggered.
Okay, great.
Yeah. All right, well, I think we are good. Any questions? You can always email me, and if I don't know the answer, I will try to find it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.